Hello, eighth graders. All right, this week we are digging into um, our characters from our books. And we aren't writing an essay for the end of this quarter, but we are going to be doing some structured writing. And so I wanted to take some time to look at understanding how authors develop characters, and also how are you going to show your analysis skills as an author. So, what are we really learning? The goal by the end of this week is I can analyze how an author develops two characters by comparing and contrasting their development using evidence from the text. So, we're going to be building off of the two characters that you chose last week, assuming that you did the Mod 6 work, um, and looking at this next step of not only who are these characters, but how are they built and why did the author make some of the choices that they made. So, your writing task for this is compare and contrast the way the author of your novel develops two characters. How is their development similar? How is their development different? You're going to use at least two details from the text to support your response. All right, so what do we need to do with that? First thing, we're going to compare how the author develops two characters. Then we're going to contrast how the author develops those two characters. And we're going to use evidence from the text to support your ideas with at least two details. So, when I'm saying evidence, that could mean examples like quotes, descriptions, key actions. The key thing that I want you all to hear is you do not have to go back and pull key quotes. You don't have to pull quotes. If you want to, absolutely can. Um, but you, as long as you are giving very specific examples and you're putting them into your own words, that will absolutely work for this assignment. Right, so you're being asked to compare how an author is developing these characters, but what is character development? So, authors can develop characters in a lot of different ways, and this might sound similar to indirect characterization because it is. Authors develop characters with their dialogue. What are they saying? Who are they talking to? And then through their actions, what is it that they are doing? Through their interactions, how they relate to others, and through internal thoughts. What is it that these characters are thinking or feeling? So I want to show you guys an excerpt. We're going to kind of walk through this assignment, this writing prompt with an excerpt from the book Slugfest by Gordon Corman. I do have the full book as an digital copy. If you would like it, just let me know. I think it's really fun. Okay, so here's how the story starts. Too bad Yash only has 4 letters. Having your name spelled out by a squad of cheerleaders feels pretty great. And it's over practically before it starts. Mom and Dad should have named me Maximiliano or Demetrius. I crouch over the plate, dig my cleats into the dirt, and point my bat at the sky. I have the most aggressive stance of anybody on the Comets. Bat high, crowding the plate, daring the pitcher to brush me off. Even though I'm in middle school, I've been playing on the high school's JV teams since November. The only JV team I'm not on is football, since there's a rule against eighth graders competing at the high school level for that sport. Bummer. That's why I love hearing that YASH from the cheerleaders. They're high school girls, so to them, I'm just a kid. At least that's what they thought till they saw me play. I let the first pitch sizzle by right over the plate. Strike one. I back up just a little and lower my bat a couple of inches. It gives the pitcher the false sense that he's got me scared. The second pitch is off the plate, like I'm clueless enough to swing at a bad one. And the third, that's my pitch. I swing through the ball, not at it. When the bat makes contact, it jars me all the way to the shoulders. That's when I know. Okay, so what is the author doing to help develop this character, Yash? So we saw that characters are developed through their dialogue, actions, interactions, and internal thoughts. So let's look at how this can show up. So dialogue, Yash doesn't actually speak directly in the excerpt, but there are people talking around him. So in bold, we see that the cheerleaders were spelling his name. And this suggests that he really wants to be recognized and valued for his sports talent. And it kind of implies this need for external validation. He wants to be recognized by this older group of high school cheerleaders. And that kind of connects to his need to prove himself. Then we're going to look at his actions, and that's this part in purple. We see him being very physical. He crouches over the plate, digs his cleats into the dirt, points the bat at the sky. And each of these actions demonstrates confidence. He's prepared and a bold approach to competition. He also deliberately, I wish I would have highlighted this part or made this bold. He also deliberately adjusts his response to the pitch, which shows that he's very strategic and he has a strong sense of control over the game. And then we get a lot of internal thought. And I highlighted the parts in blue that stood out to me the most. And again, we're seeing this desire for recognition and validation. He wants his name to be longer so that people shout his name longer. And his confidence borders on cockiness. When we see him, shifting his approach so that the pitcher has this false sense that, they're doing well, he's very confident. And he really is proud of the fact that he's an 8th grader playing at a high school level. So overall, when I look at his actions, these parts in purple, I see a very confident, skilled person. His internal thoughts, these blue parts, to me reveal his desire to be seen as more than just a middle schooler and a strong ambition to excel. And then his interaction with others, like with the cheerleaders, show his growing recognition that people see him maybe a little differently because of his physical strengths. So that's kind of the thinking when I've been asking you guys to go back and look back at your characters, and looking at how they are growing and changing, and we're looking for these pieces that give us insights into these characters and how an author is helping us get to know these characters. So let's look at how you are going to structure your response. How are you going to write this? First thing, topic sentence. Your first sentence is going to identify the book that you read, who it's by, the 2 characters that you're focusing on, and you're going to tell the reader, I'm going to be comparing these people. Then you're going to move into similarities, and you're going to identify a similarity and in how they are developed. They're both developed through their actions, or they're both developed through their interactions or internal thoughts. And of course, you're going, I'm getting ahead. Then you're going to identify a difference and provide evidence again, highlighting how they are developed differently from each other. In both of these both of these sections, number 2 and number 3, you're going to need to include evidence. And again, evidence does not have to be a direct quote. It can be a specific example. Then you're going to end with a summary where you summarize your analysis and what impact the similarity and difference had on you as the reader. So our writing task again, compare and contrast the way the author of your novel develops 2 characters. How is their development similar? How is their development different? Use at least 2 details from the text to support your response. Okay. We've talked about what is character development. We've seen an example of character development. We've talked about structure, but now I want to show you it as well. But I'm not going to use one of the books because that just feels unfair for the other authors. So this is an example of my response to that question using Phineas and Ferb. In the show Phineas and Ferb, created by Dan Povenmire, The main characters, Phineas and Ferb, are both developed as inventive and ambitious characters, but they are portrayed differently through their personalities and actions. Both characters share a love for building complex inventions, such as roller coasters or time machines, showing their creativity and intelligence. For example, in one episode, they collaborate to build a backyard roller coaster that defies the laws of physics, demonstrating their shared enthusiasm for pushing boundaries. However, Phineas is developed as the more vocal and outgoing leader of the duo. He often comes up with the ideas and motivates others to join their projects, as seen when he enthusiastically announces, "I know what we're going to do today." On the other hand, Ferb is characterized as the quieter, more enigmatic partner who communicates mainly through his actions. For instance, Ferb's engineering skills are emphasized when he silently builds intricate parts of their inventions without needing much direction. In summary, while both Phineas and Ferb are portrayed as inventive and ambitious, their personalities differ. Phineas leads with excitement and verbal expression, while Ferb contributes through quiet determination and skill. These differences and similarities make their partnership effective and engaging. All right, so what is this? So we have our topic sentence in green. I introduced the title, I introduced the author, and I told the reader, like, hey, I'm going to be comparing these characters. And then in blue, I highlighted their similarities. And I give a specific example. And I identified that they are, sorry, I'm realizing I should have, oh, there it is. It's through their actions that they are developed similarly. But then their dialogue is what shows a difference. And then I talk about that. And again, I use for example and for instance. Those are great kind of transition words to help you when you are doing specific examples. And then at the end, I have my summary. Okay, so team, that's what you're going to be digging into this week. If you want any help, please come hang out with me on Friday during work time. I will see with Miss Louise Stroh if I can get a specific work time to get that scheduled at Brick Day. You could also, of course, join me during IS anytime. I would love to see you. All right, take care, team. Bye.